Welcome. What does Santa have in store for the real estate market in our area? Let's jump in to the data and see. We're going to cover St. Tammany Parish, Tangi Parish, and Washington Parish. As always, we're going to look at average and median sale price, days on market, and number of units sold. Has the market went down? Has it went up? Are home prices cooling off? Have we reached the bottom? Are we out of the bottom? Let's jump into the data and answer these questions.
Okay, here we are at the handy dandy graph once again. Last month of the year that we're in, but obviously we'll have December data early January. So, what happened in November in the Tri Parish area that we talk about every month? We'll start with St. Tammany Parish again. Single family homes, garden homes are in there as well. What did the median sales price do last month? Looks like we had a dip. In October, it was $315,000. And for the month of November, we were looking at $305,000 as a median sales price. Again, median means middle. It's a little different than the average. Uh, Median is where everything is clumped together. I can switch to average real quick. We can see what the difference is. And we still had a decrease. Average was 385 in September, 374 in October, and 366 in November. So big difference between average sale price and median sale price. Just to clarify for the audience out there, the average is everything in the pot together divided by the number of houses in there. Median is where are the middle of the sales falling on the scale. So they're a little different. Sometimes the median and the average are the same or close. Sometimes they're very different, like they are here. What did units sold do in St. Tammany Parish last month? Well, we had a dip again. So you can see median and average sale price is falling, number of units sold is falling. Not surprised to see that. Sometimes you see it the other way, but this is typical. So in October, we had 306 residential garden home sales, and in November, we had 261. I mean, that's actually a pretty big fall when you think about it. To have over 40 different over 40 less sales, you feel that. But it's the slow season. The winter is usually slow. Certainly getting into the holiday season, the market does cool down a little bit. It's probably been hard to find your realtor because they're taking vacations right now. Just playing around here. But nonetheless, I'm not surprised that the market's cooling off. It usually does in the winter. Doesn't mean we're not busy, doesn't mean we're not working, but that's what happens. So let's switch to days on market and see what happens. I'm expecting this to be up, but you never know. Let's see. And it actually went down. How about that? So interestingly, we had a decrease in sales price, decrease in units sold, and a decrease in days on market. So I find it to be interesting that even though we're selling less and the prices are cooling down, the houses are staying on the market for less time. That's awesome on the less time part. Obviously, not awesome if you're a home seller and you're seeing prices adjust a little bit, but we're not talking big numbers. So I don't think it's time to panic. The Fed reduced the rate yesterday. Is that going to help us out? I think it will. Are we going to see drastic home sale prices fall? I don't expect that to be a short term thing. Over time, they might trend down a little bit, but we're not going back to pre COVID numbers. So, those out there that are waiting for pre COVID numbers to come back around, you can forget that. You can mail it out and put it in the bag. It's done. We're not going back there unless there's an economic crisis that none of us want to live through. So, that's my thoughts. So, 38 days on market is what the number of days on market for St. Tammany Parish was last month. That is no time, as I've been saying time and time again. When you're in the 30 days plus or minus days on market, that's a month, that's 4 weeks, that's no time. Um, I hope you have a plan when you list your property because selling that quick is going to make you make some moves you might have not been expecting or ready for, and that's just the nature of life, right? Okay, so that's St. Tammany. Decrease in sales price, decrease in units sold, decrease in days on market. What is happening at our neighbors in Tangi Parish? Let's look and see. We're going to start with sales price. Okay, here we are. Decrease in average sales price, trending just like St. Tammany, 286 to 269. Not a huge jump, but a little bit of a decrease. What's the median doing? Median dropped as well, 270 to 263. You can see that, interestingly, their median and their average is kind of closer together. One of the reasons that the average and the median in St. Tammany is kind of messed up the way it is. You have pockets of our parish that have very, very, very expensive homes that are selling, right? $1 million, $2 million and up. Um, you also have lower. You have other areas of our parish in St. Tammany that have they're lower priced properties depending upon where it is. Certain parts of the parish. I'm not going to pick on anybody. So that's why you see this big swing in median to average. In Tangi, I don't think we if I dug into the data, you're not going to see as many $1 million properties selling in Tangipahoa as you are in St. Tammany. Hence, the average and the median are sticking kind of close together. The facts here, there's been a decrease in average sale price, a decrease in median sales price in Tangipahoa Parish as well. Not surprised. If you look at the graph as a trend, though, we're still tracking higher on the median and the average than the bottom low of the market back in mid to late 2022. I think that's super encouraging. I feel good about that. I 22 really was the I don't want to say the worst year I had in real estate, but our numbers were as low in 2022 as they were in a decade. It's very nice to be on an improving trend. So if you look at this graph, it's been increasing steadily since the bottom of the market in Tangipahoa Parish in mid to late 2022. That is super encouraging, super exciting. As a buyer, I hate to tell you, you missed the bottom. You did. Maybe in some areas you didn't, but on the average, you missed it. So waiting for rates to adjust has not helped you any. Probably cost you some money in the long run, but that's life. You can't dwell on that. You just got to move forward. Okay, so what did the closed sales do? How many houses did we sell in Tangipahoa Parish? Man, a big jump. It went down big time on the graph. Let's just see what the numbers are. So in September, it was 121. October, 79 houses sold in October in Tangipahoa Parish, and in November it was the 61. So it's a big jump because we're talking little numbers, but still, it's a decrease in the market, and I'm not surprised. I mean, that's the trend that we're having. It's November and December and October. It's the last quarter of the year. It's the holidays. It's going to be slow. It's going to cool off. It's okay. Um, now, what I don't like to see is that that's less units sold um, in the 3 year run that we're looking at. That kind of hurts a little, but that's okay. Okay, what's days on market doing in Tangipahoa Parish? It went down as well, so not surprised. It was 35 in October, down to 24 in November. Decrease, decrease, decrease all across the board. Let's look at our neighbors to the north, Washington Parish, and see what's happening there. I'm expecting all the same, but hey, you never know. All right, the sales price in Washington Parish fell as well, and it down to 125 on the median, down to 136 on the average. Again, um, not surprised. Median average a little closer together. It's the same rationale I just explained. So we've had a decrease in sales price in Washington Parish. The average again in where did October was 246. Actually, look how big of a difference it is, the average. So we had some big sales between October and November, messing up the average. But let's see what the median did. Median's a little bit better, but still it's a huge swing, right? 212 to 125. Not talking about a lot of units being sold, so that's going to mess up the data. Let's just look and see. Yeah, so we sold 16 properties in October in Washington Parish, residential that is, and only 9 in November. So you can see how, with only 9 sales in the whole parish of Washington, in November that the average and the median can be a little messed up if we had some crazy high or crazy low prices. That's okay. No need to panic. I want to jump back to the sales price, but if you look, you know, the bottom of their market was back in early April of 2023. They still haven't bottomed out to that low, so safe to say Washington Parish, the bottom has already passed. However, if we still have a trend of a downward turn in December, we could be looking at the same thing that we were looking at in 2020, end of 22, beginning of 23. Curious to see what it does. I'm gonna flip back to St. Tammany just to wrap up on what the market looked like over the past 3 years, just to have a quick talk, and then we will wrap this thing up and put a bow on it. Okay, so St. Tammany. Okay, here we are. So I'm gonna look at both average and medium. If you look, the bottom of the market has passed looking at this graph. If you look at the lower numbers back in early 2022, early 2023, mid to late 2023, that was the bottom of the median sales price for St. Tammany Parish. If you look at the average, the bottom was back in early 2022. Once again, based on this data, the bottom has passed in St. Tammany Parish. Actually, we're several years past the bottom looking at this data. So now, again, I want to reiterate to you buyers out there, if you were waiting on the market to bottom out to jump in the game, you're late. Now your only ploy is catching the market in its normal cyclical bottoms, right? Where we're in a slow period of the year, prices tend to tail down this time of year, right? It'll pick back up in the spring and prices will increase. But the overall average of the bottom, the median of the bottom, the sales price is gone. What are interest rates going to do to that? I'm here to tell you lower interest rates are not going to lower sales price. Lower interest rates are going to maintain what we currently have. The only way you're going to see stuff get cheaper is if we have economic instability, economic crisis. And I don't think anybody that lived through the 2008, 2007, 8, 9 crash that we went through in real estate, I don't think anybody wants to go there again. Well, obviously, like if you've got a lot of cash, yeah, you're licking your chops for that to happen again. But for the average American, that was a hard time to live through. It was hard to make ends meet. It was so much uncertainty. There was so much fear. There were so many people losing their homes. I do not want to go through that again because that's not going to be good for our economy, both locally and for the whole country. So I think we're kind of transitioning into what's the new norm. It's here to stay. We may see some moves, 6% or so as it normally does, but the bottom is gone. That's my wrap. I'm curious to see what it's going to do next month. Please tune in.
Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you tuning into this video. If there's any data points that you'd like me to cover in the future, please drop me a line, shoot me an email, a DM, a text. Once again, thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button to get these videos as I publish them monthly. Every month, I will cover the market in the Tri-Parish area so we can see what our market is doing, what home prices are doing, what are days on market doing, and how many units are we closing on a monthly basis. Thanks again. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. I'll see y'all next year.